Dude,
Dude, what? Oh, man, I'm giddy. I'm giddy like a little schoolgirl. It's automating sales and service with the Turk gold medal legend, Tolga Demirel from Agency Zoom.
Dude, let's do it.
We've got to.
Welcome to the Insurance Dudes, a podcast for insurance agency owners, helping us to think of different ways to optimize our business and our lives.
Oh, he is. He said he wasn't going to be on
Tolga!
video.
I know, man. What's that?
Tolga! Tricked
I feel
us.
like I have to do that when I join this. But yeah, I was able to. I was running around and do some shit, so I was able to get home. So I was able to get to my home.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Man.
Yeah, cool. Not as cool as J Money Man's background, but
I can't even compare.
dude, you're rocking your Arizona. I should go wear my butt. I think I should go to my closet and change, right? Get my Buckeyes on.
If you want to, you can.
Is this your house?
This is my bedroom, actually. Yeah, it's like
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. It's just fun.
Sick.
It's
I like
super.
the brick.
I'm like major OCD, ADD, any three acronym, but in the OCD thing, I'm like a super duper minimalist, and like I need stuff. So my house is really actually plain, not a lot. But I do love plants, and so do you, Craig. So we do have that in common.
Yeah, plants are cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I like plants.
Oh, I love.
I want to join the club.
Do you have
That'd be
any?
so good. I don't, but maybe we'll add one to the wall.
I think you can, dude, get a nice vine or like a pothos would be great up there. I think that would be.
You know,
Yes.
You can get that wood and have like the
Oh,
green
yeah.
stuff growing off it.
And then I
Oh.
can have like action figures climbing up it.
Oh, man.
that would be pretty funny. I was never into plants at all. Like I was very because I hated stuff. So I was anti-plants because I was like, it's just more stuff. But now I'm like super into it. I love it. I love, I don't know, kind of corny. I love taking care of it.
Living stuff is cool.
Yeah, especially my house is very gray and industrial, so it really adds a good touch to it as well.
Is it like in a industrial park or something? Like you have
condo downtown, like
cool.
Columbus, the greatest city in America, as I like to say it to people.
Huh.
The only thing we don't have is, mountains, water, any of that cool stuff that you guys have.
All the good stuff.
Air.
We do have a lot of super nerdy tech people though, which makes it interesting and fun.
So like Seattle without the water and the mountains and
But with the rain, interesting fact, I think Columbus is the fourth grayest city in America, fourth or fifth. So
so no mountains, no ocean, and no sun.
yeah, and still the greatest city in America, believe it or not. So
How are you so pumped? You're
Oh, man.
always pumped.
Dude, I've had 14 coffees today, so that kind of helps. No, I'm just high energy. Today we actually have a blue sky, man. It's been awesome today, and I got a lot accomplished. That's why I'm able to be on video today for you guys. So yeah,
Nice. Well, for anybody listening to this, this is number 2. The first one got jacked up.
So we were actually faking the stuff that we said previously as if it's our first time saying it. True or false.
Yeah. It's like opening the present again.
Yeah, I know. Oh, this is so great. Yeah.
Yay, I'm surprised.
No, I had a lot of fun, and when you text me that, I bet you guys were like, "Holy shit!" Like, and when you text me, I was like, "Totally."
Look at Greg. Greg. Look at
I was just like mortified. I'm like, oh man. This is why Tolga? Why couldn't it have been
right.
Last time we were
all of those other any of the other guests? No offense, other guests.
we were having problems with Jason's internet before, but I think the blame is on. Was it on Zoom webinar? Is that what happened? Kind of just.
I actually found out because I'm on a Mac. It was the I'm pretty sure it was the Chrome. Anytime I have Chrome on, I don't know. Maybe it's the VMware Fusion that runs
I got you.
Windows.
I've been having problems with Zoom lately, honestly. Like, not agency Zoom. That works great. I had a, I had to chat in, and they upgraded the software or something. It's working out, but it's great. Yeah. So, dude, definitely, I'm excited to be back on here, and actually taking you up. For those of you listening, you don't know this. At the end of the last phone call, Jason asked if I would be willing to show. So you don't even know this. So I was like, we were having that, and I'm sure we'll get into this with the NPS stuff. But I'd like to show you guys the dashboard later in this conversation of what we signed off on and what it's 90% sure going to look like when it's released to the public. So
that's awesome.
It's coming out on here, yeah. And I'm sure we'll get into the NPS stuff, but I don't know.
Okay. And so for the listeners who are on iTunes or Spotify or what else is there, Google something or other, then you can actually go over to YouTube and you can watch all this stuff on YouTube. You can see us. Obviously, Tolga's the best looking of everybody. And,
dude, I got that filter on, man. I got the still not doing the best. But,
Zoom needs to do that, like the Instagram filters.
Have you been kicked off of YouTube yet? You're still on there? I hear YouTube's having kicking a lot of people off. I don't know what's going on over
there. We're like not even a speck in YouTube's eyes. So,
yeah. Let's get you on there, man.
Most of it comes from like iTunes. Yeah. But and then for anybody that is just listening, we're actually going to do make sounds that represent the dashboard for agency.
Yeah. So if you understand what green sounds like, it'll be on there. There you go. Some whale noises.
I follow my favorite podcast, believe it or not, is not you guys, believe it or not.
What?
It's Joe Rogan.
And I believe it.
Okay, well.
Now I'm a part of that because sometimes on Joe Rogan's podcast, he's like, for those of you guys listening, and I'm like, who the heck is listening? Why isn't everybody just watching it? It's such a better experience when you watch it, but I guess it makes sense. So now I can say I've been a part of that listening thing.
You got to upgrade to the YouTube account. Like if you upgrade with your YouTube, it's like $10 a month, and you can close your phone and keep listening to videos.
Oh,
that's why mine does that now.
Next level.
I must have upgraded.
I'm yet to hit that button, and YouTube is like relentless in their marketing efforts to get you to sign up. And
it will annoy you until you sign up.
Yeah.
It's calling leads.
They don't even, now they switched it, which actually we kind of I watched them and I'm like, oh, that's interesting the way they did that. They switched it, and it used to say that you could say, no, I don't want this. Now it's just skip, like, for now. You can't even say, no, I don't want this. You can just, skip it, knowing that it's just going to come back later. Just relent.
At least they're honest.
I know.
Yeah, you're just skipping it for now, buddy.
You know who else? We're not even talking about insurance, but we are talking about marketing. You know who else is doing this? Old Navy. I went to Old Navy and bought a pair of golf pants, which they make actually the best golf pants for a good price.
$6.
I did not know that.
They won't leave me alone. I cannot get rid of them. They send me 2 emails every single day, and I'm just like, when I talk to my team about our, we've never really marketed, but when we get into that space, I'm like, here's exactly what we're not going to do, which is I have no idea how they have probably playing $1 million worth of marketing team that they just bombard people with the worst emails ever.
So you're getting 2 a day.
It's crazy. They won't leave me alone. I have to file a harassment suit against them. It's crazy.
But you will go back when you need golf pants.
Oh man, I went there thinking they would have the exact same thing in shorts, and they did not. And I was bummed out.
Golf shorts are nice.
Oh, dude, they're
I'd wear those all day long.
I'm really cheap, and like Old Navy, you can get a pair for $20, but they're always 50% off. So they're like,
dude,
yeah, man,
$10.
Yeah. No, I've only bought 1 pair of pants from Old Navy, but they were great. They were great. I will say, they did their job.
They should if they're going to be doing golf. I know I should be moving on. But if you buy golf pants, what they should give you is like golf tips, golf, other stuff in those emails, not trying to harass you about buying Old Navy crap.
Yeah, flip flops, exactly. Yeah,
Be helpful, right?
yeah, for sure.
All
All right, should we do the insurance stuff?
No, we don't want to do any insurance stuff. Nobody wants that. We know our audience. They don't want to hear about that crap.
It's too nice out in Columbus, Ohio. You guys should fly over here. It's so nice. It's like Scottsdale, man. It's so nice.
We could do an on location at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Skyline Chili, something that's big in Columbus?
No, not Columbus.
That's the enemy.
No, like
Cincinnati.
The enemy.
I think I've seen one ever in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, but you can get it in the can.
Skyline Chili? I've never. No, I don't know. I don't go to grocery.
People from Cincinnati. They always.
They
always bring back cans of Skyline Chili, which, by the way, they owe us for that.
I've never been to Skyline in my life.
Oh, okay. Well, but you have been through a lot of phases of business.
Yes.
Look at that segue. So why don't we talk about how, where you came from and how you got to where you are? Because it's real interesting.
Yeah. So I'll tell my story of Agency Zoom, I guess. And so I opened my first all-state agency in October of 2011 and came out of the market for Columbus, Ohio, in the Ohio market, pretty hot compared to my peers. And every month we kept doing better and better. And that made me really, really happy. And then about a year and a half in, our sales results started to plateau out. And so I looked at my team and said, guys, what's going on? Why is our sales results plateauing out? Because we're role playing every single day. We're doing phone labs. You guys sound phenomenal. Why aren't our sales reflecting that? And they looked at me and they said, dude, you ain't that smart, but we'll make it simple for you. We didn't have any customers, and now we have customers. They call us, they email us. We have to do stuff for those customers to keep them happy so that we keep you happy. So therefore, we don't have as much time to sell. And so my thought is, well, wait a second. We are a sales organization first and foremost. We got to figure this out. So what I did was essentially I got everybody a yellow notepad and gave it to them and said, guys, every time you do something that is not sales related, I want you to write it down on this piece of paper or this notepad. And they would do that. And then sooner or later, they would do something that was already on the notepad. So they'd put a tally mark next to it and tally marks here and there and tally marks here and there. And then about 2 to 3 weeks after I gave them their notepads, I collected all those notepads. I think I had 4 or 5 people at that time and I collected them. It was very easy to see the top 3 things that stuck out that were taking or occupying or wasting my salespeople's time, essentially, is what it was. And of course, we were in that hybrid position that a lot of newer agents are when they first start. And so what I did was we developed a process to deal with those. And to be quite frank, all of those 3 things had to do with a crappy onboarding process. We were great in the sales. We just had a really poor onboarding process. And that having the poor onboarding process resulted in people calling in about DriveWise, people calling in about eBill, or just stupid phone calls that they had to answer emails that not only take their time, but it killed momentum. So I developed a process, and it was essentially a sequence of events. After you sell a policy, on day 1, this is exactly what you're going to do. On day 2, day 10, day 14, 30 days before the renewal, etc. So that process essentially lasted from the day it was sold up until the first renewal. And we implemented that process. It was literally a check sheet, a Word document. And our sales results reflected that. They started going up again and going up and going up again. Well, I used to be a nerd programmer back in the day. I'm no longer anymore. I do no programming for Agency Zoom. Thank God I'm sure all the users are saying, but I used to have a little skills, and I used some of that nerd magic to create an Excel sheet with VB script in it so that this process would go faster for my team. And then we implemented that, and guess what happened? Our sales results went up even further and further, and we got to the 200, 300, 400 item mark. And at the time, that was a big deal. I don't think it is. I think it's still okay, but not a big deal anymore.
It's a big deal.
But what started happening was agents started contacting me, or just when we were at events, people were asking me questions. And what I realized was, whether you were newer like me, or whether you had been in the game for 20 plus years, the challenges were the exact same. So that was kind of my aha moment to monetize my onboarding process and and that's what turned into Agency Zoom. So when Agency Zoom was first released, which our alpha version was about.
Could I time out you real quick? Because I think that it's important, and it's helpful for Agency Zoom too.
Okay.
What were the specific things to get in the weeds and get a little tactical?
Okay.
Like, what were those things? Because I would guess that a lot of agents who don't have Agency Zoom are experiencing that.
Okay. Don't quote me on this. I actually have the document and the checklist, which I'll be happy to give to you guys. It's in my Google Drive. And we recently, I just stumbled across it, and we were in this meeting with my co-founders. I'm like, holy shit, this is where we started, was this Word document, literally.
Cool.
So don't quote me on this exact things, because this is some time ago. But for sure, DriveWise was in there, 100%. And also, don't quote me on this, but I think the whole DriveWise experience is a little bit different now. Back then, it was like this dongle device, and it was just like, I don't know if it's
the plug-in thing,
it was just a pain in the ass. And the actual adoption rate by the customers, the intent was there by the customers, but their adoption rate was not there. Does that make sense? And the way the discount was applied was different. So there was an issue with that for sure. What were the other ones? I forget, what they were.
Maybe e-bill sign up or stuff like that. I guess.
No, e-bill for sure, because I don't know if they have to do that now, but back then they had to actually go onto the website and click some buttons. And we weren't allowed to do that for them, of course. So that was a pain in the ass. And it's a lot.
It doesn't matter what it is. Like that one phone call.
Yeah, I'll find the documents and send it to you. But really, what it was short up by sending them this welcome kit on day one, and then the welcome call. The welcome call made such a big deal. So even when I do my demos with Agency Zoom, I even tell people in those demos, if you don't sign up for this, do a stinking welcome call. It is such a big deal, like a day 7, day 10 welcome call, especially if you are specialized, because that handoff. So your sales team is the quarterbacks, is the way I look at things, and they hand that ball off to the running backs or the wide receivers, or however you're going to look at it. Man, there's always going to be a little fumble in there. Nothing is perfect, and so that welcome call always helps shore up those things, and it really helps complete that handoff process to the service team. When you're a hybrid and you're servicing the clients you sold, I always recommend in that situation that you still have an onboarding specialist that their sole job is to make sure everything's buttoned up, tight, all those things are done. So the welcome call really helped with that. But yeah, so Agency Zoom, we just started as a onboarding process only. And the funny thing about this, and we talked about this previously, but the funny thing about this is, for Allstate customers, it doesn't exist anymore. So what we started with, which was only an onboarding process, is not even in the Agency Zoom that exists today. So such a unique story, actually. I think it's unique. I think it's quite interesting. And it kind of speaks to the mentality that we adopted, I should say, when we started Agency Zoom was, look, for some weird reason, all the stars lined up, and Tolga came out with a somewhat decent idea, right? That was also helped with the feedback from other agents. But we can't count on Tolga for much after this. So what we have to do is we have to count on the agency force, and we have to listen to them, and we have to have a pulse on what's needed, because like we said, DriveWise change, everything changes. And we had a never say no mentality, which was, if somebody is using our product and they say, this is so cool, can you also do this? The answer was always yes. And the good news back then was, when we said yes, we could implement things like this, that, like really, really quick, because the scale of the program. Now, we still like to say yes, but some things just take way longer to implement because the program is so evolved, and it's an ecosystem. So one little thing affects the other thing. And then, of course, on top of that, we have our compliance requirements on the Allstate side, which we place a really high value on that. And we're really proud to be a compliant vendor. We would never jeopardize that relationship or put an agent in a position to where they would have to worry about anything like that as well. But with that being said, they're still super, I'm really excited about the future direction of Agency Zoom and the things that we're going to come out with for Allstate and for the non-Allstate side. Just some super, super cool things coming out.
Cool.
And now I'm out of the insurance agency game. I'm full time in the software game. My nerd hat's back on.
But you're in the trenches though. You're still learning every day from the agency side.
Oh, it's so fun, man. And that's why I love that you guys kind of like are at least for sure on the Allstate side kind of kickstarted the whole podcast game. It helps me stay intact or in touch with what's going on because it changes. It changes so damn much. And now I'm really learning a lot about the whole IA side. We work with a lot of farmers agents, actually, believe it or not. They do some really unique things. Like for example, the one unique thing they do is their sales month is not the month. They have these things called folio months. So their end of the month might be the 21st. And that might be their month every single month, right? And that is so they unique things. So each one of those channels, it has their unique things about them, but it's all very much the same, and the spirit is all very much the same. Insurance agents are just rock stars for the most part. I don't know what your experience is with people, but they're just great people, and they're people. They care about their clients, and they're not nerds, and they're fun, and they're just, I don't know. I love the industry. I think it's so fun to be in, and I'm excited about the future of it as well.
And what we love, especially about Agency Zoom, is just like to your point of where you started. It's like you guys are so far beyond that, and it's so cool watching you guys constantly implement new things that help the agencies at a ridiculously rapid level,
awesome.
Which is awesome, man.
Yeah, thanks. And we take definitely we hold ourselves to a high level of accountability for making sure that we're staying in touch with what you guys need. Your needs are to run your agency at the highest level possible, for sure. So we take a lot of pride on that, for sure.
That's awesome. And where do you see the future? We talked about a little bit before, kind of how what you did on the IE or on the independent side, and then on the.
What's the future of agencies in general, and how does Agency Zoom fit into that? So
yes,
as we said previously, there are two essentially products that we have branded the same way. We have Agency Zoom for Allstate users, which has its pluses and its minuses, right? And then we have on the other side, which has its pluses and minuses as well. Let me talk to you about a plus and minus, the yin and yang. On the Allstate side, we can just drag and drop binding docs in there, no manual entry at all. On the other side, you got some manual entry, unless you're using our lead manager up front, which is not that robust, to be quite frank with you. But yeah, so it's got its pluses and minuses. In both of those products, we have a vision of where we're going, and both of those are very, very exciting. Ultimately, on the Allstate side, we will always be that extension of eAgent. It's you got eAgent, you have your lead manager as well. So we're gonna be the extension of eAgent and bridge the gap between your lead manager and eAgent, because it's a lot. It's a lot of manual work that somebody has to do in the agency, and we believe that damn near all that manual work can be automated away so that those people can spend their time doing stuff they love, selling and wowing customers. That's why people work in an agency. That's why people love being a part of an agency. They like selling and they like wowing customers. So that's where we've kind of fit in the vision, and we're going to keep building on that. On the independent side, it's mainly a extension of the AMS system, because the whole lead manager thing is like, what I'm finding is most of them don't use one. So on the independent side, it's the spectrum of the makeup of an agency is so broad. You know, what I find is there's not a lot of middle ground. There's either you're really, really big or you're small. You know, there are those middle players that have like 8 to 9 employees and they're like at $6 to $7 million, but not a lot. I don't feel like there's as many in the Allstate world where you got that like $5 to $7 million range. You know, I find there's a lot more mom and pops and smaller agencies, which is fantastic. I love that. They're definitely invested in the same thing that the Allstate agents are, which is that trusted advisor model. So in that, they have those commonalities. And so with that being said, there's different needs and different things that we can do. For those smaller agencies on the independent side, they need more automation. Definitely. They don't have the resources that a team of 13 has to delegate stuff and do that. They can't afford to pay $300 just to get Google reviews every single month, or $200 to get Google reviews. So that's something we already are doing for them. But I mean, those are the things that we look to do and build up on. Those are things that we can't do on the Allstate side because we can't email the customers directly because of compliance reasons. But there are other things that we can do within our boundaries on the Allstate side to streamline the process as well. So yeah, long-winded way to answer that question.
No, it's great.
But ultimately, I forgot about this. I'm going to keep that win going. I got a little bit more win.
Do it.
Where we see ourselves is this, all right? We have a roadmap for both of those channels. And that roadmap has some checklists on it. And that checklist, to be quite frank, has been narrowed down because we have such a long list of things that agents have said they want in the system. And we're like, damn, we want it too. But to get to where we want to get to, we had to narrow that roadmap down. And we're working through that roadmap, okay? And those checklists on both of those channels. Ultimately, there's going to be a period. So right now you're seeing a lot of stuff. Our users are seeing a lot of stuff, and we're working through that. There's going to be like the eye of the storm period where not a lot's going to happen in agency Zoom. And that's going to exist for about a quarter or so, where we're really allocating our development resources on this big release. So, and this is something that unfortunately I can't talk too much about, but we are timing a big release in Q3, which between you and I means Q4 probably. you know how things go. But we're working towards a big release, and what that means for us is let's get out this really, really cool and big stuff actually, and then let's have something pretty cool and unique that I think is going to change the game. I really think we changed the game with how you track sales and not worry about the big number. Let's worry about today. Let's make sure everybody knows what they need to accomplish today, and let's celebrate everything along the way. Well, what if we could change the game in that same way in some other areas that would try to be ambiguous about that, but that's what I want to say. Yeah.
No, we're going to ask you to come back on.
We definitely have
after.
a vision. Yeah.
After the release of that, we want you back on and talk about that because Craig and I are excited.
I want to be back on too. So for sure.
Definitely. Tolga, you haven't really, you've just hit the tip of the iceberg on some of the functionality because, the commission tracking, the rah, hey, so-and-so made a sale. I mean, dude, the just that little simple email going out, it gets people going, like especially the more competitive LSPs or reps, depending on who's listening. That email I love the emails because I see things are happening, but then at the same time, if one LSP sees it, they're like, wait a minute, so-and-so just got $3,000. I got to turn it up, right? And then they're on the dialer and they're making it happen.
Right.
And I love that. And then also something that we haven't even touched on is agency HR.
Right. So so we don't really, we don't market Agency Zoom that much. We've never sent out an email marketing campaign. We have boosted a couple ads here and there, but it's all word of mouth and conventions. It's been great. Agency HR is kind of like an auxiliary product that our Agency Zoom users get, and it came out of a need, and it really started with our compensation dashboard where we had this time sheet where people would type in their numbers, and we're like, dude, this sucks. Like, our dev team developed it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. People started using it. I'm like, really? And I'm like, we can do better. And again, my OCD kicks in, and I'm like, this is just not good enough, And I get in a lot of arguments with my founders about that. Like, little things bother me so much. So I'm like, let's build a time clock. And then we started talking to agents and really understanding the problem there. And what we realized was it's so simple. You got a management system for your customers where you keep notes on every little thing that happens, but you got nothing for your employees. And the reality is every insurance agency is a small business. You're a small business owner. And a little lawsuit, which is what these things are a big deal to a small business. And so why not essentially kind of replicate what happens in a management system for your employees and do it at a really affordable rate, $3 a user. There are some systems that cost a lot of money. So let's do it at an affordable rate. And let's make sure we do it specifically for insurance agencies with the understanding of how insurance agencies work. The fact that you work in an agency and you become really close. I see so many agents that get held hostage to their employees for two reasons. Number one, they're not recruiting all the time. And staying on that point, when they do recruit, it's so hard to find a quality person, and you remember that. And so when you're thinking about, oh man, this guy sucks, but like, I don't want to go through that again, you're held hostage there. The other reason they're held hostage is like just the environment of an insurance agency. You're right next to that person. We have 1,500 square foot offices, 2,000 square, not big spaces. And so you're right next to that person. You're seeing them all the time. You're talking about, there's fraternization going on, and that's not a bad thing. But it makes it difficult. It makes it really hard to be objective when you need to be objective.
Yeah, it becomes a family.
So what if you could document things? What if you could get all that out of here and get that into an AMS system, essentially? And then when the time comes, and really do evaluations and use that data to evaluate that employee to where it makes sense for you, but when the employee looks at it, it makes sense to them as well. And the other problem is right now when agents are firing people, they're probably wishing they had better notes because, man, some people are just suing for the sake of suing. And you're probably going to win the lawsuit, but it's going to be stressful. And that's the last thing you need as an agency owner. There's not a lot of lawsuits going on, but when it happens to you, it sucks. It definitely sucks. So we built that, and it's been great. We have, I think, over 8,000 users on that system now. So it's been great. I was really shocked to see how many users we have, but we have quite a bit. And we do plan on expanding that product and not as much as Agency Zoom though. Not the same vision we have with Agency Zoom. Let's say that in the future, it might be just Agency Zoom is what might happen as an FYI.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about
it will be incorporated. It would be a tighter integration.
Oh, I see. I gotcha.
Much tighter.
Because before you move on, Jason, I'll tell you, I have to vouch for it because I use agency HR, and unfortunately, people have to be let go, right? And I have there was a case where something, it's very easy for somebody to make it difficult for you by going to these websites, the Department of Labor, and just hassle you. And I had all my notes, every single interaction is in there. I'm like, here you go, boop, just export it out. It's done. and it was freaking awesome. And it was like, oh, yep, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, that's right.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, it really made it easy. So,
Awesome.
And if you can save even 5 minutes, it's a huge deal. But like,
I would have been scrambling and trying to figure out and look for this spreadsheet somewhere. And, I mean, it was like there.
yeah.
Whew. So
Cool, man. Yeah.
save
That's
more than
awesome.
5 minutes.
Recruit Zoom.
Recruit? No, we're not going to be a recruiting. No, that's there's probably a lot of money in that, but we have no interest in none of that.
Yeah.
That's just such a big pain point for agencies, and you guys all know my saying, like the whole that I stole from somebody else: the recruit, train, motivate, make it rain. You just gotta always recruiting, and with my business, it's the same thing. With an RN, I'm always trying to recruit customer service reps because it's that hostage thing, man. It's just it sucks. It sucks to be held hostage, and that's not a position you ever want to find yourself in.
So yeah,
But
Eric Brown
we'll never
gave
do recruiting.
yeah. So Eric Brown gave us that piece of advice. That was the nugget he gave us at the end of the episode. Go into that a little bit. Like how did you come up with that, and like how did you implement that?
Yeah. So in full disclosure, I definitely didn't come up with that. Just like I haven't come up with anything in my life. I'm great at taking stuff people have and saying it while I'm smiling, so it sounds good. No, let me tell you how I came up with that. I have a really good friend of mine. His name is Daniel Sa. He owns a mortgage company here in Columbus, Ohio, and I think he's the number 1 or number 2 loan officer in Ohio. Closes an insane amount of loans. He operates it the exact same way as an insurance agency, where he is the EA essentially, and he has producers underneath him, but everything goes onto his thing. And what he does that's very unique in the mortgage game is he speaks to no individual customer, but he has the best customer service because he has his team that does that. Who he considers his customer is realtors, right? And builders, people that can give him a lot of customers and residually giving customers. Because in the mortgage, the great thing about our business is you get paid 3 ways, right? You get paid up front, you own your book, and you get residual. Well, he owns his company and he get paid up front, but there's no residual except the relationships that he has. So we're always constantly bouncing ideas off each other, and he's actually going to be featured in one of our blogs here soon. But what I was talking to him about was like, how do you build that relationship? And he's like, I do it the exact same way I do with my staff. I always recruiting. So he's always recruiting for realtors to have a relationship with, to foster. And so he's a part of this mentoring group called The Core. I don't know, have you guys ever heard of that?
No.
There's actually a top loan officer in your neck of the woods, Craig, actually. There's probably one in yours as well, but I know one there. But The Core is basically the who's who of the mortgage game. So it's a mentoring group where you have these awesome coaches, and people are paying significant money to be in this group. I'm talking like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month. And if you're late to a meeting, you pay like $1,000 fine, like significant money. But in return, they're making a lot if they stick to the processes. So kind of very similar to agency vault. Like you get what you put into it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so these guys coined that phrase: recruit, train, motivate, make it rain. So they apply it to hiring your staff and developing your team, but to also developing your business. So you always start with recruiting. And their philosophy is you spend at least 2 hours every single day recruiting. So if you're in an agency, for example, that means you are recruiting salespeople, CSR, office managers, or whatever need you need today, and what need you don't need, but you will need in the future. So you're just constantly recruiting and building relationships with people. Then finally, when you hire somebody, you got to train those people that you spent all that time recruiting. So you spend all that time recruiting them, now you got to put in time training them into making them little mini yous, right? And then once you train them, you got to keep them motivated because the reality is they're going to get burnt out, period. And if you're not a good motivator, you're not a good business owner, in my opinion. And I think you guys kind of buy into that same thing. And then you just make it rain on them, right? If they're well trained, they're happy. It should be raining in the office. You know, everybody should be living life. And by rain, maybe that's money for some people. Maybe that's a lifestyle balance between work. I don't know what it is. Different people have their rain points, and that kind of falls into the motivation. So I literally took that from them. I thought it was the best thing, and it was so easy for me to understand. And it works. It works for every business.
It's good to have that clarity.
Yeah, but the reality is it's so easy to skip step one, and then guess what? Put the handcuffs on. You're going to be held hostage. You're going to be held hostage. If you're not a good recruiter, you can't get to the results you want. With or without Agency Zoom, we're going to help you, but we ain't going to get you there if you're not a good recruiter. I can promise you that.
What so we've been talking to a lot of different size agency owners. What advice would you have for somebody that's maybe smaller? They're like, oh, you know, I only have maybe a couple producers. And what do you think it takes to get to that next level, the mega agency ownership? And how would you, from everything you've been through and seen and everything, how would you take it from that person? What do they always say? We're not making enough money. You know, they're waiting for the money to grow. But
that's a deep question. Good question. Okay, so if you're a really small agency and you're looking to get to the next level, you better be sure that the people you have in your agency are the right people. And I have this saying, and people don't like this saying, and it's not a saying I stole or made up. I definitely took it. But the people you start with ain't going to be the people you finish with. So those. They got to be the right people, and they may or may not be there at the end. They're not going to be there at the end, so you got to have that understanding. So I think what you have to have to get to the next level is, number one, passion. You better be ultra passionate. So when you just said, I don't have enough money, like that's an excuse, or I don't something, this or that, you're already done. You're toast already. You have to have world-class passion, because to get to the next step in the situation you're in, for example, an agency that's $1 to $2 million, and you're done, maybe you're out of ECP or whatever, you're in a tough situation, real tough situation. And to get to 3 million is not easy, but it's much easier to get from 3 to 4, and it's way easier to get from 4 to 5. I can guarantee you that. So what are you willing to do? But it's not impossible. So step one, you gotta have passion. Step two, you gotta have a standard in your office. Essentially, and that standard has to be set by one of those people, because you are ultimately going to scale this agency, right? So ultimately, you're not just going to have 2 people. You're going to have 3. And one of those 2 people at least is going to be a part of it when you have 3 people, right? They might not be there in the very end, but they're going to be a part of the growth. So there has to be somebody that is adopting the standards that you will have in the future. You got to have that person. So it kind of ties back into the first thing, which you got the right people. But passion and people. And man, if you have both of those, how can you not go to your bank account, take out every single dollar you have, confidently put it into your business and say, it's going to work? Because if you have the passion and you got the people, it's going to work. Let me tell you a story, if you don't mind. As you can see, I like to talk a lot, right?
We love it.
Story about this. And Scott's going to be upset. I don't know. I hope he doesn't get upset about this. We are going to start getting into marketing. We finally hired a digital marketing specialist. Okay, his name is Scott. He's a newest member of our team, and so he's kind of developing this like blog for us to help with like SEO and brand. And he's looking at our blog and he's like, "There's no brand identity here." And it's really upsetting for him, right? It doesn't mean shit to me because I don't know anything about it. So I'm like, "Okay, come back to me and tell me what you're thinking." So he's like, what we need to do is we need to establish a persona. We need to build a brand specifically for this blog. I'm not talking agency Zoom. I'm like, okay, what are you talking about? So he's like, I'll get back to you. So he comes back. He's like, I got it, man. I got the persona. I'm like, all right, tell me. He's like, okay, so what we have here is we have Agent A and we have Agent Z. And they're kind of like Men in Black. Like, think of it like that, where they're like these detectives. And we're going to do this Agent for Agents. That's what it's going to be called, Agents for Agents blog. And these detectives are going to go looking for these agents, and they're going to be interviewing them and discovering their top secrets and releasing it to the public. To me, it sounded like a comic book. And I'm like, I'm not understanding how, like, I just think it's corny. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm back in my head, I'm thinking, this is not going to work. But I didn't tell him that, of course, because the dude he is so passionate. Here's what I told him. I said, listen, man, I don't know about this, but here's what I know. You're passionate. And I know that you can have the best idea in the world, and if you're not passionate about it, it's the road to nowhere. You can have the worst idea in the world and be passionate about it and kick ass. So you handle your business, go with it, man, and just run with it. And he delivered the first draft. I think it's freaking awesome. Like with the imaging and all that and the branding, I think it's so cool what he came up with. And it all makes sense to me now. And it's just passion. It just means so, so much to me. It's got me to where I am. And I've just seen people who are not passionate. I don't know, just they get stuck in certain places in their life.
Yeah, it's true.
Awesome. That's awesome. And it really touches on something. I don't know if you know who Bobby Stocks is, but he was on the show a couple episodes previously and talked about how, you have to have passionate people. He didn't use the word passionate, but he said smart people and good people in each different piece of the business, whether it's finance, marketing, all the different spots, because you're not going to be good or passionate about every single one of them. Case in point with you, you're like, I don't give a shit about this blog. I know it needs to be done. Right. You just gave it to him, right? And giving that trust away to him where he can just take the ball and run with it. And then you see the final result. You're like, wow, that's actually pretty freaking awesome.
Right.
Great.
Everything for sure.
It's not a question, I guess. Yeah.
All right, boys, I gotta tell you this. Yeah. I have a hard cutoff in 11 minutes that I have to run. So I want to definitely showcase something that I'm being a little selfish here, but I also want to announce or showcase something that we're coming out with soon.
We want it.
Should we do drums?
Yeah. So I'll share my screen here in a second. Now, this is not going to be out for the Allstate agent users. So sorry, guys, but because unless we figure out some kind of way to do it, but it's not. That's not the intent in the beginning. But what it is a Net Promoter Score. Okay. So previously we talked about this, and you guys weren't even aware of what it is. But let me just kind of touch base on this. So right now, what's happening is we have 1,000 customers at our agency, for example, and every month we're selling 50 new ones. And what we're doing is we are engaging with those customers the exact same way. Even though the reality is number one, they don't want to be engaged the same way, right? Mm. Number two, some people love your agency. Some people could give a shit less, and some people just really bought a policy and they don't want to hear from you at all. Coming back to that first point, which says, although we want everybody to be treated with this trusted advisor mentality, not everybody's there yet, right? People want to be engaged differently. So what the Net Promoter concept is about is discovering who your customers are and how they like to be engaged and how much they really like your agency, to be quite honest with you. That's the main part of it. And then based on how they score, we engage with them in particular ways. So let me give you a perfect example. If we discover that somebody loves your agency, well, then they are a perfect customer to ask for a Google review from and to ask for a referral from in an automated way, right? Because we know that if we direct someone that loves your agency to your Google review page, they're probably going to give you 5-star. But what if we direct somebody that doesn't like your page or your agency to your Google review. They're going to give you a 1-star, and that's not good. Or they're just not going to open it. And so we have to engage with these people differently. So we're going to be releasing this, and there's not really a lot of this going on in the insurance industry yet, but it's coming out. There's this net promoter concept. So let me show you the dashboard. And this is just the dashboard design. Oh, shit. Am I going to be able to sell it? Hold on. Why can I not share that screen image? You're going to have to edit this part out, man. Hold on.
Mo locked it down.
All right, hold on.
Well, usually in these spots, Craig likes to bust out in song and dance. So intermission. Go.
All right, hold on.
Subscribe and like the YouTube channel. Turn on notifications.
See the dance.
Here you go. Yeah. All right. I had it up just as an image, but now I'm just gonna open it up in my Dropbox folders.
I wonder if enough Allstate agents sent emails to corporate and talked to their FSLs if this is something that could be implemented.
Oh, here we go. All right, we got it. I got it up. Okay, can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So
analytics.
It's basically the final draft, but there's a little tweak that we made that is not on here. So this is kind of our net promoter dashboard. So essentially what we're going to be finding out is who are your customers, right? And then we're going to segment out those customers into 3 categories. We're going to call them promoters, passives, and detractors. That's the market set words. I hate those words. Detractors sound like they came from North Korea or something like that. Right? It's like, so anyways. So, and then we're going to give you your agency score. And basically, so in this example, the agency's overall promotion score is 9.1, which would be really kick-ass, to be quite frank. That's a really, really good NPS score. And we're going to break that NPS score down for every single person in the agency that should have an NPS score. So just like our score dashboard or our sales dashboard where you get the God view as an agency owner, each person is going to get their own view so they can understand where they can improve, which customers like them, why their customers like them, why their customers don't like them, how those engagements are working, etc. So this is an example. And then you're going to be able to see your NPS score, how it's operating over time. You're going to be able to see results from the NPS surveys so that you can make adjustments in your business. Really great feedback from your customers at the right time. And ultimately, the most important part about this is not only are you getting your NPS score, which, by the way, you will be able to tie into compensation as well. So you'll be able to give bonuses for getting X number of promoters back per month. If your NPS score is over 9 or 8, you're going to get you'll be able to tie this into compensation, so incentive as well. But the most important part is the data around it. We're going to be able to we have another concept coming out called cadences. I don't want to get too far. Do you guys understand what cadences are?
No.
Okay. Google sales cadence. So cadence is not a word that's used in the insurance industry. We are going to be bringing that, and that is going to be a game-changing experience, I think. But anyways, so we'll be able to tie this into cadences. And ultimately an easy way to understand it is automated customer engagements to create cross-sell opportunities, to create referral opportunities, to get these people over here who don't like you to over here, to make them love you. And we're going to engage with them in a way that fits their current profile or their persona, because they definitely have a persona. And the reality is, some people in your agency are always going to stay here. Not everybody's going to love your agency. That's okay, as long as they keep buying a policy from you, right? But a lot of people are going to love your agency, and we're going to help your agency move most of your people into this in a very automated way through cadences and customer engagement as well. And ultimately, the more people you have in here, the more revenue you have, the more profitable you are, and the bigger your book is. So
Navy needs this.
This is the start
This
of
is a
something
game
really,
changer.
really, really big, actually.
Dude,
So,
this is huge.
The cadence thing is going to be cool too. I'm really excited about the cadence thing. That one is going to be I had a fight with my founders. They're like, dude, no one's going to understand what it is. And I'm like, that's the best part because it's going to come to the insurance industry. Let's be that trendsetter. Let's be the first people to do it. So we're going to be ahead of the game with that one for sure.
That's awesome. Is there any chance that this is coming to Allstate? Any chance?
Slim to none.
Okay.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Unless the only way that I could see it happening is if we were integrated with the email server. So if we were directly integrated with the email server or eAgent, which we are, do you guys know what Vertifor is by chance?
Mm-mm.
So Vertifor is like, they own a bunch of management systems like QQ Catalyst and AMS 360. Basically, they are the biggest player in the game for management systems on the independent side. Them and Applied, I guess Applied is there too. But we are one of the 7 API partners, so we're going to have direct integration with them. So all of this stuff that you're seeing, you do nothing at all. And how awesome would that be to happen on the Allstate side as well? But I don't want to, we're not looking to rock that ship, to be quite honest with you. We got a good thing going on.
I thought eAgent has an API and you guys could somehow.
That would be great. And if that exists, I don't know about it. As we develop and continue this relationship, maybe. But I would say slim to none right now. Slim to none.
Push real hard.
But there might be a way, there might be a way for maybe they look at it and say, let's build it into the system. And that's okay with us. That's totally fine with us as well. I don't know, But just understanding this concept is just understanding that your customers are not all the same. It's a simple concept, but maybe it'll get people to say, okay, let's not just send out a mass email to everybody who only has an auto policy
Right.
with our agency. That's not the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. What's the right thing to do is figure out who loves our agency, and those people that only have an auto policy, let's do that. And I think with if I was an Allstate agency owner still, I would literally have like a field in eAgent. Can't you make those sticky fields? And I would literally have a field that's like 3 categories, like love, hate, or something, or maybe 4. And every time the customer service picks up, I would just have like, what was your impression of that phone call? Boom, put it in there. What was trust me, your customer service people are going to give you feedback. That guy hates me. He's a dickhead. Oh, he loves me. They love giving feedback. So there's a way you can do this on your own. It's just not as often.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That is amazingly huge. It would be amazing to know the health of your agency in that simple of a dashboard.
Awesome. So let me stop sharing this. And then, like I said, guys, I hate to do this, but I got to jump out of here. I got something I got to
You're going back to Old Navy.
Dude, I can't handle the emails anymore. So
They need this system. Old Navy needs this because you're right now over on the far right box.
You're damn right.
They need to move you over.
That's an exact point. What they should be doing is instead of sending me an advertisement twice a day, they should be sending me stuff on what separates them from everybody else. I don't know, cool stuff that makes them love me. Because I'm not loving them. That's for damn sure.
Tolga, thank you so much, man.
Super, super duper fun. I insist that you guys invite me on here again.
We owe you.
I got a lot of questions for you guys, and we didn't get to do it this time. And I want to pick your guys' brain and reverse this role sometimes and ask you guys some questions as well. So, and we'll definitely, I want to invite you guys. I'll have Scott get a hold of you guys to get you on our blog series as well. And in this next series we come out with, we'll get you guys on there and not only insurance news, but agency call as well. I think you guys can add some feedback to that. So look for an email from Scott. And listen to this because I was talking about this.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you so much, dude.
Yeah.
Your Insurance Dudes podcast is sponsored by Agency Vault, an industry leader in agency coaching, hiring and retaining top talent, and sales training with the 7-step trusted advisor sales framework. Are you up for the challenge? For $99, you'll get 28 days of access and an opportunity to join our private platinum coaching group. For more information, navigate to www.agencyvault.com.
Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.